what CaitlinClark did, because so many eyeballs were on her, was she is a huge multiplier effect of that.
The WNBA is buzzing with excitement, and all eyes are on the IndianaFever as they surge ahead, leaving other teams in the dust under the leadership of their new GM, Amber Cox. Cox is making bold moves that are as shocking as they are strategic, most notably her decision to let Tammy Benlay go in the expansion draft. This move didn't sit well with fans, who were left stunned, especially considering how pivotal Benlay was in the Fever's success, playing a major role in their playoff push last season. However, this decision is part of a carefully calculated plan to build a super team capable of rewriting the league's narrative. The real shock came when Timmy Fagbernal became available in the expansion draft, surprising many given her crucial role in the Fever's success the previous year. Amber Cox is undoubtedly reshaping the Fever's future with a vision that promises to make waves across the WNBA.
I see a lot of players wanting to go, in this offseason, a lot of players are going to want to go to the Fever.
The Fever have set their sights on Sutta Sabley, one of the top free agents, who could potentially join forces with CaitlinClark, Kelsey Mitchell, and Aaliyah Boston. If this grand vision materializes, the Fever could transform from a typical WNBA team into legitimate championship contenders, turning heads and silencing critics along the way. The stakes are higher than ever, with the future of the team hanging in the balance.
I'm just trying to think of who potentially could be in their plans. Like, obviously Satu Sabley is a potential player who you can get via some sort of trade.
CaitlinClark is a basketball phenomenon who commands attention, whether you're a diehard fan or someone who can't tell a rebound from a turnover. Time magazine named her Athlete of the Year, and the impact of that recognition has been massive. Now, IndianaFever's GM Amber Cox is stepping up with a bold strategy to hitch the team's future to Clark's star power, aiming to pull the Fever out of irrelevance. It's a move that could finally make people take notice and care about the franchise. After years of being in the shadows, the Fever are positioning themselves to make a real, lasting impact in the WNBA.
I think we're obviously at this very pivotal time in the WNBA, and obviously led by the Indiana Fever. But I think all those experiences will lend themselves to hopefully doing the best job possible here.
Let's be honest, the Fever have been sitting on $650,000 in cap space like a dragon hoarding treasure. It's high time they put that money towards something that truly matters. The idea of CaitlinClark joining forces with Kelsey Mitchell, Aaliyah Boston, and Lexi Hull isn't just a fantasy. It's the makings of a WNBA super team. For a league in need of a jolt, this plan could be the perfect shakeup to grab the attention of casual sports fans. Amber Cox clearly gets it. Her goal is to transform the Fever from just another team into the team, a force to be reckoned with in the WNBA.
Obviously, as we get into free agency, the number one priority for us is re-signing Kelsey Mitchell. I think that backcourt was about as lethal as we've seen.
Cox isn't playing checkers, she's playing chess with a vengeance. Her off-season strategy is built on bold moves, and she's got the credentials to back it up. 2 championships with the Phoenix Mercury. But it's not just about splashing cash.
You know, it's really part of an overall plan, which hopefully everyone will see unfold throughout the offseason.
Amber Cox has a clear agenda: defensive upgrades, establishing a strong team identity, and, of course, locking down Kelsey Mitchell with a max contract. That move is a no-brainer, especially given Mitchell's standout performance as one of the only bright spots in the Fever's 2023 season. However, Cox's decision to leave Tammy Fagbernal unprotected in the expansion draft raised eyebrows. Fans were left questioning if it was a calculated risk or a reckless move. While the jury's still out, Cox doesn't strike me as the type to take blind shots. Something big might be on the horizon, whether it's a trade, a free agent signing, or maybe both.
So we want to reunite Caitlin and Kelsey. And Kelsey, when I think about her and her time in Indiana, and, you know, a lot of trials and tribulations throughout her career. So for me and for us, I'm most excited for her to be in this moment and experience so much success.
Let's talk about the CaitlinClark effect. It's real, and it's bigger than just her scoring ability. Clark has this remarkable power to transform casual interest into full-blown obsession. Fans aren't just showing up to games, they are leaving with season tickets. A practice match sold out because of her, that's the kind of hype we're talking about. She's single-handedly pulling women's basketball into the mainstream spotlight. Whether you love it or hate it, there's no denying the massive impact she's having on the sport. CaitlinClark is changing the game, and everyone's taking notice.
Respond to those comments, and do you think the award should have been given to the entire WNBA rather than CaitlinClark individually?
I think CaitlinClark deserved that award.
Not everyone's a fan of CaitlinClark's spotlight. Sheila Johnson, co-owner of the Washington Mystics, weighed in, suggesting the entire WNBA deserved attention, not just one player. Cue the drama. While I understand the sentiment, let's not kid ourselves. CaitlinClark is why many people even know the WNBA exists right now. Her record-breaking performances and star power are undeniable, and the league benefits from her presence. Sorry, Sheila, but the truth is, Clark is the face of the WNBA's current rise, and without her, the spotlight would look a lot dimmer. The league needs her, whether some like it or not.
And Washington Mystics co-owner Sheila Johnson, responded to that by saying, I think the WNBA in its entirety should have been featured.
Amber Cox isn't fazed by the criticism. She's all in on CaitlinClark, calling her a huge multiplier for the league, and she's absolutely right. Clark isn't just filling seats, she's bringing the WNBA something it's lacked for years: buzz. While players like Angel Reese and Cameron Brink are impressive, Clark is on a different level. She's not just a star in women's basketball, she's a global phenomenon, drawing attention beyond the sport and taking the league to new heights. Cox knows the league needs that kind of game-changing presence.
I don't take anything away from other players that brought more eyeballs. Angel, Cameron, right? The identity and how much brand recognition these players now have in college absolutely helped the WNBA.
The IndianaFever made a move that has fans questioning everything, leaving Tammy Benlay unprotected in the WNBA expansion draft. Bold choice, or just reckless? It depends on who you ask. Benlay wasn't some bench warmer. She averaged 6.4 points and 5.7 rebounds in 2023 and was a key part of the Fever's playoff push. Now, she's off to the Golden State Valkyrie, leaving Fever fans to wonder if GM Amber Cox is a genius playing 4D chess or simply throwing darts at a whiteboard. Whatever the strategy, the move has definitely stirred up plenty of uncertainty and debate.
Never seen anything like CaitlinClark.
CaitlinClark is a superstar. Not a female superstar, she is a superstar.
We were coming to see CaitlinClark play.
She moves the needle. The WNBA has been looking for someone who moves the needle.
Social media exploded with reactions to the IndianaFever's decision, and fans are divided. Some are backing Amber Cox, convinced she knows exactly what she's doing, while others are voicing their frustration, saying, "This is why I don't watch the Fever." Theories are swirling. Some believe Cox is clearing cap space for a major free agent, while others are dreaming up wild trade scenarios involving draft picks and superstar players. Meanwhile, Cox calls it a difficult decision, which, in GM speak, translates to, "We know you're upset, but trust the process." That process? Letting go of a solid contributor in pursuit of some grand championship vision. It's risky, for sure, but at least the Fever are making headlines. That's got to count for something, right?
And specifically has such a unique skill set. She loves to run, just incredible vision. Stephanie White sat down right where you are and said, we want to run. So how much are you thinking about the fit here as you close in on free agents?
It's the most important thing, right? You've got to get the players that fit with the system Stephanie wants to have on the floor.
Let's be real. The WNBA isn't exactly filled with teams pulling off these so-called master plans. More often than not, they flop harder than a missed free throw. But give Amber Cox credit for having the guts to try something different. This move signals that the Fever are thinking long-term, even if it means taking heat in the short term. Whether this gamble will pay off or leave them in ruins is still uncertain. For now, Fever fans are on edge, biting their nails and hoping this isn't just another classic case of a WNBA team shooting itself in the foot. The stakes have never been higher.
But also her ability to run the floor with CaitlinClark and how their games complemented each other. When we think about, that expansion draft, what was the thought process in making her available?
Here's where things get interesting. Word on the street is that the Fever have set their sights on Sutta Saberly in free agency. And let me tell you, Saberly isn't just any player. She's the kind of talent that makes coaches drool. Last season, she averaged 17.9 points per game, shot 45.2% from three-point range, and showcased defensive versatility that every team dreams of. She's not just a good fit for the Fever, she's the perfect fit. Imagine pairing her all-around game with CaitlinClark's insane court vision, Kelsey Mitchell's lethal scoring, and Aaliyah Boston's dominance in the paint. That lineup doesn't just scream playoffs. It screams, we're here to win it all. If this comes together, the Fever could be the team to beat.
So obviously we want to take the next step. So I think as we're looking to free agency, we'll think about veterans coming in with that playoff experience.
Then there's the social media tea. Sabely's been liking comments suggesting she should team up with CaitlinClark in Indiana. Coincidence? Maybe. But it's hard to ignore, especially considering her connections to Amber Cox, who was once her boss, and Aaliyah Boston, who shares the same sports agent. If the Fever manage to land Sabely, it's game over for the rest of the league. Trying to guard a lineup that's stacked? Good luck with that. The Fever would become an unstoppable force, and the competition would have a serious challenge on their hands.
It's difficult. It's hard to lose a player. 6 is not very many when you think about protecting anybody on your roster.
But because this is the WNBA, nothing's ever that simple. If the Fever can't land such a Sabely, they've got backup plans in place. Gabby Williams is reportedly on their radar. Sure, she's not quite Sabely, but her defensive skills and versatility would still bring significant value to the team. There are other options on the table, but let's be real. Sabely is the crown jewel. Adding her to the Fever's roster wouldn't just make them contenders, it would shift the entire balance of power in the league. When was the last time anyone said that about the WNBA? Exactly. Amber Cox isn't just signing players, she's building a culture. She's not interested in throwing together a team of big names and hoping for the best. She's focused on creating a roster that fits together seamlessly, like a perfectly assembled puzzle. If Sabely joins the Fever, it won't just be a win for the team. It'll be a statement to the entire league. The Fever are done being the punchline of the WNBA. They are here to dominate, and they are not hiding it. Amber Cox is ready to make the Fever a force to be reckoned with.